Alright, so let's say 3D printer's up, it's working, and you have uploaded your file to the Drop It To Me folder, because there's only one place where you can finish processing your keychain or cell phone case, and there's only one computer that does it, and that's the one that's attached to the 3D printer. So you'll have to take turns. This will be kind of slow. And on my screen I have the same program, but since I'm not connected to the 3D printer, I can't do everything. But I'll show you some of the main steps to get you started, hopefully. So you need to start with File, Open STL. That's why those files were STL files. And let me go ahead and find mine. Okay, if it works, it should open. If not, it gives me an error message. Alright, so here is my design. And if you used it in Inventor, here are some numbers that you need to watch out for. I know that when I designed my keychain, it was no bigger than 3 inches by 3 inches. But look how down here I have 6.96 and 7.14. And I also know that I did not make my keychain any thicker than 1/2 inch. So if you are transferring your file from Autodesk Inventor, unfortunately it blows it up. And you have to play with this STL scale to try to get it back down. How do you do that? Math. Yep. You need to figure out some kind of a ratio between, in my case, 6.96 and 3. So the math involved is I take 3 divided by 6.96. I get something around 0.43. And let's see if it'll do it. Okay, so you kind of notice that this jumped. The squares are a little bit bigger than they used to be. And if I click on this space, I can zoom out. Alright. And if you click that middle wheel, you can spin around kind of the same way. Okay, layer resolution, you want to leave it like that. Model interior, solid, support fill. You want to change it to breakaway so it's easier to break away. And I know that my units are in inches, so that'll stay there too. For some reason I have number of copies is 4. I just need 1. Okay. So here I can play with orientation. Notice how it's flat. I can flip it over, and I kind of want to. So I want to rotate along the, and let's just play with this, x-axis. So I do want these things to stand up, and it's kind of hard to control the mouse, but you get the idea. Okay, and I can zoom out. Alright. If you don't know what to do, maybe you can play with these, but otherwise just kind of flip it on its own. You can do a top view of your piece, a front view, a right view, and a 3D view, kind of. So once you play with these two, when you're ready and you think you got it, process STL. And you're going to see basically what it's going to look like when the 3D printer is going to build it. So what's in red is not necessarily meaning red plastic. This is just the plastic of the keychain. Okay. Now this gray stuff is the support material, which works like scaffolding to hold up this red stuff as it's building layer by layer. Now remember, I changed the units and I did the ratio. So it worked. It's pretty close. I wanted it to be 3. I got 2.99. Okay. And here we go to the pack. So we want to add to the pack. And hopefully it'll do that. So when we click on pack, we see this guy. And this gives us a preview of where to put it. Now, if you're going to help out putting several, so like inputting several students' works, you want to kind of back them up here and put them in order, because the head of the 3D printer will start back here and work in order. Okay? So it's best if you can kind of cram them in the back, and these things do take a while. For example, this one piece takes this much model material, this much support material, and almost 4 hours. Okay? I mentioned before, these things are kind of slow. So, just to recap, you're going to go into General, File, Open STL. You're going to bring it in. You're going to change the scale if you have to, because you want to check what it inputted based off of what you designed. In SolidWorks, this shouldn't be a problem. But be prepared if you're going from Inventor to the 3D printer, because this tends to happen a lot. Make sure that you got one copy, that the support is breakaway and the model is normal. We can go to orientation and we can change if it's going to print flat or standing up. And then we process the STL, we add to the pack so that we can get to this screen. If everything's connected, you would be able to see how much the 3D printer has in their model material and their support material, and you can compare these numbers, which should be bigger than your numbers. If there's not, there's a problem. That means it won't print, okay? So when you're in the room, please pay attention to all these little details, because otherwise you're going to be in a world of frustration. If it works, if these numbers for model and support are bigger than your numbers for model and support, you would normally click print. And it should go. But since my computer is not the one that's connected to the 3D printer, it's going to be thinking, and it'll eventually give me an error message. So there you have it, a crash course on how to try to process your stuff into the 3D printer so it can print. And good luck.